matchup of the undefeated teams as the Cardinals get set to battle it out in the Bay against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm Zach Gershman, and this is The Pulse. Cardinals getting set to play the Niners in their home opener. But before we talk about San Francisco, let's talk about the Cardinals' home opener, welcoming in the Bird Gang to State Farm Stadium to see a 27-22 victory over the Carolina Panthers. The defense made a statement early in the game in front of the home crowd. Josh Sweat gets free and forces a strip sack. Zaven Collins jumps on the rock for the touchdown. The next drive, Mack Wilson Sr. gets to Bryce Young as he releases the football, which ultimately gets picked off by Baron Browning. And Kyler Murray had an incredible 31-yard scramble. But in crunch time, when the Cardinals needed it most, Calais Campbell, the 18-year vet, seals the game with 2 fourth-quarter sacks.
I'm back! I'm back!
However, the Cardinals left the game with some key contributors nursing some long-term injuries, most notably to Garrett Williams, the starting cornerback, and defensive lineman LJ Collier, both leaving the game with knee injuries, being placed on injured reserve. However, there's potential that they could return at some point later on in the season. Also, cornerbacks Max Mellon and Will Johnson exited the game with injuries. However, the Cardinals dodged a bullet. Neither of those two guys with long-term injuries. However, you have to compliment some of the players that stepped up, like Keitrell Clark and Denzel Burke, both guys combining for 4 pass deflections in the outing. The Cardinals' defense is second in the NFL with 19 pass breakups, only one behind the Jacksonville Jaguars with 20. But look, when you look at this outing against the 49ers, both teams have their fair share of injuries. It's the NFL, it's a physical game. Tight end George Kittle on the injured reserve, and quarterback Brock Purdy also has been on the injury report lately. But at the end of the day, you can't forget about running back Christian McCaffrey. Through 2 games, McCaffrey has rushed for 135 yards on 35 carries. He also has 125 receiving yards, so he's a player the Cardinals need to be mindful of.
He's a really good football player, both in the run and pass game. He's hard to tackle. He's got great vision, great acceleration. He can hit home runs. He's a matchup nightmare.
This entire offseason, the conversation has been about how the NFC West is up for grabs. And if you look at the standings right now, you can't argue with that. The West is the only division with 3 undefeated teams, and the only loss was because the Seahawks fell to the Niners. It's also why San Fran's in first place heading into this game. But with the win, the Cardinals would slide into that first place slot before their Thursday night game against Seattle. It's important for the Cardinals to get off to a hot start in the division play, take hold of that first place slot before you get set to host in the rivalries game against the Seattle Seahawks. But there's no mistaking, the 49ers are also your rivals, and kickoff for that game scheduled for 1:25. That's all the time we have. We'll see you next time for another edition of The Pulse.